And in order to have wisdom, we need to study. We need to study the scriptures. We need to learn about the Buddha Dharma. His Holiness has encouraged us to read through the teachings of Lord Buddha, whether it be the sutras or the tantras or the shastras written by the great Indian scholars, and as well as the scholars of different nations following the spread of Buddhism.
To add a traditional booking to the sacred occasion,
ngati dunla tene mosu kani tene Skyabje Asanga Rinpoche tene ya potan kau jetana tene kata da chen jikal ngawa kunga sonam jono khong ketana chistong gudya tuchiloa tene America choga tene skyote tene Saskia monastery jegan chasta bada tene yul janla tene che sangyas ki tanbadang lapardo tene pa Saskia tanba Espera gano tese sasto kitana tene ane Rinpoche yono tese sasto tene Asanga Rinpoche kau kitana tene daksa ngatang same dulla tene mosu jagyu teno sumba sang nge iring Asanga Rinpoche chowa tene chistang ladakh sena tene Rinpoche cho gumarang tene peba zatin te nangnang tene miksale tene talo ladakh mangso Yarchos Chenmo te chungji sena tene tiang tene dadua peba zatisla nge ladakh mangso Yarchos Chenmo budik soksung dojospe tamjik tene pas saski chindardang tene ladakh ganspe chindare thabjuste Rinpoche chowa tene budutang nyampo tene goma ngirangina shkil zatisla tene gasujin jule
kazu tene tanan thing chungispa nata Yarchos po maso gonul thumona tene khonuma kales mangpo zatot dinin sang lo sumjin nan phalla tene so tene kebun gerewang po thonje khenjin zipa chepo choga tene juwa pulte ada la Yarchos Chenmo tene ngai maso gombe na ngai sukjese ini junji dam khoni juwa pulte lo halam lo jinga skyo do tene ko mixa le ta sanga lo jugan nam jin khoni juje se tonta ko mir so tene ngada ito Zajim Gyaspa Zarte, Isop Zajim Zarte Nada Jenkes Tis Nampa Sangyas Stanba, the Mixale Nada Jenkes Kunama, Pan Top Chenmo Skyochitu, Jutua Gong Teteo Koni Yang Gombochova, Chiknis Man, Sel Lang Mangpojik, and Ladakla, Ladak Man Paten Gongna, and Dharam Sala, Sel Chikin Nisu Pefte, and Yang Jua Patan, Talan, and Nije Batsondang, Nije Kulong Zampel Gone, then Nada E. Zajimbo Zachespo. Your person can go to Monia and can mix a just a talan. Thank you, Masoi, Tenica Sanchez Latin Tore, Nata, Nans Latin Gombo Choika, Pechino, Tesco Pangi, La Masoi, going to know Langas La Lada, 원파 속중원에 나도 원칸 쪽에도 잡주대 독재체나 다시 들려주지.
Yalang izin Khondung kone labja nangjin zamning nampa tsangma turak mishur sakshik pe nampa gyur gozir kanbo tebe nata tsirkajik nga tsora ga yang I Yarchos Chenmo Matho gompa siche sepya ene Matho gompe genun tang yurmi nang sangne ma chaklas manko zara zats tebe katin la ene ika ene diring ma isuk nasal deno ta nata siche se skap stop nija tsangna ma udyal namste ika talik ma gaspa zara zat edo nija mane tus manko jikne phalla ene ibe talik enama gompa nang yurmi nang tsangna vet pintewa na magyala chuste dujo kyot pasang na ene talo Yarchos Chenmo skaps natang mimang sena nga ene larak sena dangdiri nga ma shkomo nazduk chik kabo natang ay junu gune na nga ene tukza se teni nat po yongches podemba ma natang skalas Chenmo jikduk ene tsamshig skalas Chenmo ibu gyurtiot mimang manpojiga tugyus miru 제주는 가자 속부스나 두스타산나 걔네 아주 주는 속스페 이스콜라 차글라스 망포자로 놓대오나 가자 유샤로 이 스칼라스 콤마 스칼라스 쳔모도 이 이본 셀체세피아 걔네 나타는 상나롭도 선두스 조스트만에 걔네 이보 나타나다네 살체스 미루 예 토가 걔네 이 나마 걔네 야르초스 쳔모 스캅상 걔네 고래 शायद उनकी डोबी का कुछ गला सोचे से नो ये माता में तारीख चुकान संगमाला ये तो बारे में ना सोचे से पे नहीं तक पर तुझे छेजुन yang ni spera nampo majua dene dilane nata Yarchos Chenmo go ma transpolu shesepia dene ye so muzlamin yang nija gopana lupa tsmala kashi delekjun
Bonsa ejin nurbi düzgün kalobe namdu ene sangya se chi sungan ba nata kyapsu cho chasao zeshi chi ko main ba e sangya se sunga lobjong zatte ene tea tappa tang iches lete nangpa sangya pa ji gyurna tatebo kete turap tang tunpe nangpa sangya pa yana turap nichik pe nangpa sangya pa jokyap kyot pasang diring ene mangro lada Yarchos Chenmo ene migu to bo nada yongches chane ene lada se jonkes kun ene ijin nubi kalo nangjin ene turap nichu yeshu sakshik pe ene nangpa sangya pa gyurche se jawab puteyin teranyambo zabun ingi chok kangsal yaga shikanyambo kyonchai jangyanja sompasang natang sangme zigat chikang inna tusopena lada tsamshik yaga song tetanyambo lada sena ene kyoncha mongpo janglet te gyapshuchisna spertanna kao nganma lada se chisok sena ma dre sampo yopen tegun kede dangdini tusoda tham metkan gyurkan sokshin enna soga sham kimse sena tunde juna yana deduk juna tusushi yongchen tebo kede dangdini tusoda metkan sokshin gyurduk shibsesin nyambo dangdini shunjes chumugul awa kede gyakab janme ene mirik tang rikshung pha chikang ene te demo sorte gyakab janme ene ladmo chwa chikang rang so se rigjum dang mirik gun storte angala pa in se ham tene poswa mekan so shi tu so chi gyote du ju je somba sang inna zuge tene du nastam shashas ko lada chi ko main ba zabulingi chok mangbo shi dang yakap mangbo shi ya du nastam ji shate ya ju je inna yang te changma nyamso ngatang lada pa shi jon zena nyanjet meja spena lobon shiwale saden da koyo kojo tu tenyet ko ga ya lamthi samji ko yang jespa nangshin a zambuli na gyujai tang mathu na ya sose mirik tang sose rikshula sabik shikane gyujai tang thuna samdane miyu kude kawa kide lada se nganme phamespe ne rikshum tang lukso gun yangshkyal tene nyamsoji chotu na samte edushi rawa kudam kalan tene lada mangro Yarchos Chenmo kawo kide peng chugis pa so boshi se yunsanji tebang yinji chisi te samdu mazak dang dili tuso da tene ngata lada se maungpa shangskan ne zhonke kun tukzas namba kawo kide Dasana jote maung belada po kazushi gyusche in hetom keche tuso cha shate dogu juche te samdu mazat te se jate jung indo mata chisok indo hama indo mangpo jiga tene kama Chenmo ji yotkane jate teguna teishi javshik toshik yada javtoshik toshik gyurena samgani mi yuzni kute ten talan 근데 Yarchos Chenmo 탱주 nispa tsokpo shi gyumsangon debo yin juji jidang ne lada ki choya tapa bumde choyon jindang zate ene awa kebe chilo jikdong shibya chuna kerup niden ye chuje dama dumba doje pa zangbo chogi mangro gon tudan shalin chogo chap tapane zate lada ki choya mangbo yiringla Shotang shik niskala tene jatok gyami chunga jik ena jatok ma gyaspa jik juwa zato te matsat ina gyachal nishu sakshik pena kawo kede ngata mitok pena yang mangro gondwe gonda tene gyabcho dewa shepa mo lulin kenjem doje chang janate minima Rinpoche choki kyang jiru lada tang niksa mangro gondang padan sakebe jinda punna ene zebatine gya michungwa jikjute yana zepa gya Chenmo jikjua zate namina yang semena itu yongche jik duk jute do dude juna kawo kide chilo jikdong gubgya donju go gyabcho dewa shepa mo ledin kenjen doje chang jantan minima Rinpoche choki u zate Khondung nyambo lada ge jingshek tamba Skyabje babuya Rinpoche, Skyabje tokdan Rinpoche, Skyabje takna Rinpoche, Skyabje chikse Rinpoche, nato lada tam gonso kune ro ka goma rang ne ngadang sangme sawe rama pa Skyabje po kyamum goma chichen jechik bacho lada la juat zate ne lada su lada ke bima pya dupta kudu sunjo sunjwa za doji jibu. Tegun kede ngatang ladas pavne namina jet migoshik yang sambena khoboshik inji jibu. Enamne miksal masho konpa tsokshira samotang na chiro jikdong gubgya tukchu rabgya loa japchok dewa shekpa ladasu gomarang peba zate gonbena jukane gendunguna gesulung ruppa zate ene mashe gonbena yanas gomarang teme tsuwa za doshi jibu. Ene tangte daksa tsupa mashe gonbena yanes chakpe lusometa arungina gonbe gendungpa sangma yanes sokoshise lusoma sangposhi yoju jibu.
And offer my sincere Julay and Dashidelik to everyone. And so this so happens to be my very first visit to Ladakh. And so far I'm adapting quite well to the attitude and also enjoying the beautiful scenery that Ladakh has to offer. And the reason why I have come here to Ladakh is, as many of you know, I was invited here by the abbot of the monastery, as well as the Sangha members and many devotees, to participate in the 12th Ladakh Mantra Yarchos Chenmo festival that is held here. And so, although my stay here is very short, I'm still very happy that I was able to make it here on time and to enjoy in these celebrations with you all. I do not have too much to say, but what I would really like to say during this occasion, without taking too much time, is that, as many of you know, during this great Ladakh Mantra Yarchos Chenmo festival, it is a festival in which we celebrate and honor both the teachings of the Buddha as well as the unique culture of Ladakh. And as you have seen during this festival, we have the traditional dances of Ladakh, which are very auspicious. And we also have Dharma discussions, seminars. As in the coming days, we will have the seminar on the mind training teaching on parting from the four attachments, which was a teaching that was taught by Lord Manjushri, the embodiment of the wisdom of all of the Buddhas, to the great Lord Skyabje Khondung, who was the founder, one of the founding fathers of the Sakya tradition. And although this teaching is very short, it is yet very profound. It goes as, if you are attached to this life, you are not a true Dharma practitioner. If you are attached to cyclic existence, you do not have renunciation. If you are attached to your own well-being, you do not have the mind of enlightenment. And if you have grasping, you do not have the view. And this was taught to Sachin Khondung in a pure vision by Manjushri when Sachin Khondung was only 11 years old. Upon contemplating on this teaching, Sachin Khondung realized that the entire path of the Sutrayana, or the perfection vehicle, which was taught by the Buddha as a guide, as a way to attain enlightenment, was included in this teaching, in this verse. This single verse encompassed the entire path to enlightenment according to the perfection vehicle. And so therefore it is known as the king of all of the mind training teachings. And so we will be having a seminar, we will be holding a seminar on this teaching. And of course there will also be discussions on how to move forward, how to bring progress to this great land, this great Dharma land of Ladakh. And these activities are in accord or in harmony with the advice that His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama occasionally gives us, as His Holiness has repeatedly reminded us that it is of utmost importance to become a 21st century Buddhist practitioner. What His Holiness means by that is that, of course, it is important to have faith, to have devotion, but having devotion alone without understanding the reasons is not sufficient. So, of course, devotion is very important. If you do not have devotion, then there is no way for the virtuous qualities, the good and excellent qualities to be born in one's mind. Just as if the seed has been burnt, there can be no result, there can be no fruit. So likewise, if there's no devotion, if there's no faith in the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Gurus, the teachers, and one's parents, etc., then there's no way to progress along the path. But if this devotion is not guided by wisdom, then this devotion can possibly lead one into the wrong path. And so if we are endowed with wisdom and devotion, then we can be able to live a wise life in which we understand what is to be accepted and what is to be rejected. And if we know that, then we will naturally not create negative deeds and will always exert oneself in creating positive deeds. And if one exerts oneself in creating positive deeds and avoids creating negative deeds, then one will always enjoy happiness and not suffer, because the law of karma is unmistaken. With the right causes, there's the right or correct results. So therefore, it is very important to have wisdom. And in order to have wisdom, we need to study. We need to study the scriptures. We need to learn about the Buddha Dharma. As His Holiness has encouraged us to read through the teachings of Lord Buddha, whether it be the sutras or the tantras or the shastras written by the great Indian scholars, and as well as the scholars of different nations following the spread of Buddhism. And through that we can accumulate great wisdom. And so accumulating wisdom is very important. It is not only necessary to accumulate the Buddhist wisdom, but also of the worldly wisdom. And this was taught with great importance by the great Sakya Pandita Kunga Gyaltsen in his Treasury of Good Sayings. And in that celebrated work, Sakya Pandita said that when one studies and faces difficulties, if we wish for an easier path or fall into laziness, then that will not bear good results. And by that, he means that one will not become wise. But if one is able to take on all of the hardships throughout the journey of learning, then eventually there will come a time when one will be able to enjoy the fruit of one's learning, even if at the moment one is going through many hardships. The wise look at the future, and if they see a good result for the future, even if at the present they go through hardships, they will ignore those hardships and take upon themselves all of those hardships and continue with their learning. And so this is the way of the wise. And this is exactly what we need to do, especially what the younger generation of the citizens of Ladakh need to do. Of course, you are doing this, but I'm just saying this as a reminder, since I'm in a position as a Rinpoche to give advice. Of course, many of you are certainly more educated than me, but of course, it helps time to time to hear reminders, especially when one is going through hardships. And when we are on the path of learning, there is no limit. Until the time we attain the state of Buddhahood, there is no end to learning. And this was also said by Sakya Pandita, that the wise will even learn from someone, will even take advice from someone who knows less than them, who is not as wise as them. Because it doesn't hurt to take advice from others, even if you are already learned. Although it is important to study, to become learned, we should also not forget to be endowed with good ethics and to be a good human being, as His Holiness also reminds us. And so therefore, if we live a life filled with wisdom and also filled with compassion and a good heart, if we can live a kind, humble life, and we are also educated at the same time, then we can bring benefit to not only oneself, but to others and to this land. And so this is something I think that is very important, and I hope that you all can keep in your mind. And during these discussions that will be held in the coming days, these discussions are not only limited to the monastic Sangha members. These discussions everyone can participate in them, including students in the schools outside of the monastery. You can all participate in these events and to learn new things. And even if you already know, it will also help to sharpen the understanding that you already have. And so therefore, these events that will be held here in the coming days are very significant and beneficial in both Dharma and worldly aspects. Other than that, I do not have too much to say. I would once again like to thank everyone for your kind hospitality in giving us a very warm welcome here during my first visit. And I very much look forward to seeing you in the coming days. And as you know, on the concluding day of this year's Yarchos Chenmo, His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama has consented to grace this premises with his holy presence. And so, of course, we will have the great fortune to receive further Dharma teachings from His Holiness. And other than that, I hope everyone enjoys the celebrations here. And to dedicate the merit, I hope that through these virtuous activities, His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama, His Holiness the 41st Sakya Khoma Teacher Rinpoche, and all of the great Buddhist masters of the various traditions who uphold the Buddha Dharma will continue to live long, enjoy good health, and spread the teachings of the Buddha far and wide. And I hope that all of the people here can receive temporal and ultimate benefits from these Dharma events here, and that through these Dharma events, the seeds for the attainment of enlightenment are planted in our minds. And especially I pray and hope that through these Dharma events, and especially the 12th great Lada Mount Yarchos Chenmo, the wishes of His Eminence, the great late Ngor Shachen Ludin Khenchen Dorji Chang, Jamyan Tenpe Nyingma, will be fulfilled, and that these events will serve as an offering of excellent clouds to please the Gurus. And with this, I would like to thank everyone.
Sang khachan joste ye Rinpoche ken la yin tapane tukje che jujezin izam tus yunji na ata gompa na yulpa samajik jose jua kulte Rinpoche ken izam time sa de ka phetse ka yin tapane Rinpoche ken tukje che Rinpoche ken ngajar Matho ka yulpa sama chok chok de lada pa samne chok ne yena yin tapane tukje che jujezin
Hello. Ranjit Samara, Tuesday sila yang penyambut kata kami sesuai lah Tuesday sesuai lah Tuesday. Ina yang pun ada ni sesuai ni Tuesday tanggung ada juga selong. Jadi mesti dia ada Tuesday.